Thank you for all of you who are joining. We are live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're talking about what could happen with the Trump administration with green cards and J-1 waivers. We have 2 more months before Trump becomes president, so we want to take advantage of this time and get as much done as soon as we can. With J-1 waivers, one of the things the Trump administration tried to do is get rid of duration of stay for F1 and J-1 students. If you come in on the I-94, normally you're given like a specific date. If you're out of status for more than 180 days, you could accrue a 3-year bar, or more than a year, you accrue a 10-year bar. If you have duration of stay, that doesn't occur. However, with the Trump administration tried to get rid of that last time, they were unsuccessful. They may try to attack that again. The other thing that could affect J-1 waivers is the Trump administration is trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. What that means is if you are here on a visa or without a visa and you have a child in the United States, that child automatically becomes a U.S. citizen. I expect an executive order to try to get rid of it. However, it is a constitutional right to be, if you're born in the United States, to be a U.S. citizen. This could affect J-1 waivers because, if you have a child here and they're not considered a U.S. citizen, then that's to be a qualifying relative. You have to have lawful permanent resident or U.S. citizen child, or lawful permanent resident or U.S. citizen spouse. So it could temporarily affect that. If this does happen, just be prepared to file as soon as it gets challenged in court, because this is a constitutional right. I don't think he will be successful. This is something that's probably going to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will have to hold up the integrity of this constitutional right. This is going to be a long battle. Initially, he'll try to get rid of it, and then if it comes back, apply for your benefit. Once you rely on what the law is at that time, you have a good due process argument. For J-1 waivers, we also expect times to get longer. Right now, it's taking about 18 months with USCIS. Department of State has sped up, and that has been great news because Department of State has taken a long time. It's anywhere from like 1 month to 18 months. They promised us that times were going to come down when they raised the fees. Have not seen that. Hopefully that will happen. We'll have to wait to see. The longer range is if you're like a Fulbright scholar, you have some kind of Department of State funding because you have to get sponsor reviews and wait for all of that. This is specific to hardship waivers. Now, for green cards, we expect all processes to get longer. Things are going to get more difficult in evaluating whether or not you have a real relationship. And we've been through all of this before with the prior Trump administration. So we do have a sense of what to expect. There will be more requests for evidence, also evaluating like whether or not you have a bona fide real relationship. And if you're applying for a green card abroad, we saw the embassies slow down, which was frustrating for many, many people. And for us as attorneys, immigration attorneys as well, because we're trying to get green cards for our clients and then it's just sitting at the embassy. And we do expect interviews to start happening again. Many of our cases, we're not going to interviews as well, but I think now there's going to be a lot more interviews. Now we're going to open it up to questions. We have a question here from Abdul. Looks like you did a no objection waiver. You sent your documents to Bangladesh Embassy 25 days. Still haven't received the statement. For those of you who are applying for no objection waivers, first of all, make sure you don't have U.S. government funding, because if you have U.S. government funding, we see majority of those cases get denied. Unfortunately, we see people waste a lot of time applying for no objection waiver that aren't eligible. Assuming that you are eligible for a no objection waiver, we see embassies take anywhere from about a month to 6 months to issue the no objection statement. So in the no objection waiver process, first, there's the application where you're filing with the Department of State, getting the 3035. You want to make sure that the third-party barcode was submitted with your embassy. And I would connect with your embassy, ask them how long it's taking. 25 days is not that long, because it can take anywhere from 1 to 6 months. So that's going to depend upon the Bangladeshi embassy. How long is it taking for I-601A waivers? It's taking 41 months just for the I-601A. That is the second step in the process where you have to show extreme hardship to your qualifying relative after the I-130 petition is approved, which that's taking about between 14, 16 months. And then it goes to the National Visa Center, and then you schedule the interview. So for instance, if you're from Mexico, that it's taking about a year to get scheduled for an interview. So that whole I-601A process can take around 5 years, approximately, give or take. Any success rate for Pakistani Fulbright scholar for J-1 waiver? I have a U.S. citizen, 3-year-old daughter, and still have 2 more years to complete my degree. So what should be the ideal time to apply? We have done quite a few J-1 Fulbright scholars. They are the most difficult cases to get approved. because the Department of State is going to ask the Fulbright program for sponsor views. So you can connect with us at 916-613-3553 to schedule a consultation to go into detail about your hardships. In terms of the ideal time, it is taking about 2 years right now, give or take a few months, to get the cases of hardship waivers approved. So now is the ideal time. I would not wait any longer because you could be out of status. If your J-1 waiver got denied, can your wife apply for the J-2 waiver separately? A J-2 waiver is dependent upon the J-1 applicant. In order to be able to apply for a J-2 waiver, there would have to be a situation of divorce, or if someone passes away, or if the child turns 21, that may be a situation as well. I would recommend having an attorney look at why your J-1 waiver is denied, see if maybe the case wasn't prepared thoroughly, maybe the issue could be addressed. Remember, this is a subjective process. That means that the officer is making their own decision, which may not often be the correct decision. You may get an officer who decides they want to deny most of the applications that they review. It's worth sometimes refiling. You might get a different officer. We've seen cases that shouldn't have been denied that do get denied. In that situation, we like to try to rehabilitate the case and refile. It's not a black or white situation, so it's really important to really have the best narrative communicated, but even then, a case could be denied, and J-1 waivers are very difficult to get approved. I had a U-Visa case filed in 2019. How much longer? So that could be about 2 to 3 years. We are getting cases for U-Visas approved from late 2016, October 2016. And if you missed this live cast, you weren't able to ask a question, then what you could do is just post in the comments below, and I will try to get to your question. If you're wondering what the Trump administration is going to do, just published a video last week on the top 5 things that we expect him to do when he becomes president, so make sure you watch that. Thank you. Bye for now.